Is there a famous artist who you enjoy? My personal favorite is Vincent van Gogh. You may know him as the artist who cut off his own ear or for one of his famous paintings, The Starry Night. Well, if you aren't too familiar with Vincent van Gogh, here are a few facts about his beginnings, how he came to be, and how he came to know his famous pieces today. Vincent's beginnings, like anyone else, Vincent had a normal childhood and startup. Vincent van Gogh was born in Zundert, Netherlands on March 30th, 1853. Vincent was a very shy and quiet kid during this time. During this time, he had little to no interest, according to the Van Gogh Museum. At the age of 13, Vincent quit school sometime during 1867 and 1868 due to unknown reasons, to which he never went back. Like many others, Vincent went through several jobs trying to figure out his purpose. This included him being an art dealer, to a schoolmaster, and a lay preacher. It wasn't until the age of 27 when Van Gogh finally found his calling. It was all thanks to his younger brother Theo, who gave him the advice to concentrate more on his artwork after noticing the talent he had when Vincent would send him letters that included sketches. In October of 1888, Vincent moved to Brussels to work on his drawing technique, and this is where he encountered many other artists at the time. Vincent went through quite a bit before becoming one of the most famous artists in the world. Vincent's brother was one of the most supportive family members he had. Theo would financially help Vincent as well as with whatever he may need. On the other hand, Vincent's parents were extremely disappointed according to the Van Gogh Museum. They were upset that their eldest son had chosen to become an artist. In their eyes, this was a sign of social failure. Vincent was taught by Antoine Mauve. Mauve helped Vincent work on his art techniques. Mauve taught Vincent the basics of watercolor as well as oil paints. Although Vincent felt that he was not good enough and his paintings were not good enough. According to the Van Gogh Museum, Vincent was given the opportunity for his first commission by a gentleman who asked him to draw 12 drawings of the city views in Hong. Vincent eventually started trying to sell his art, but unfortunately he had no luck with it. However, that did not stop him from continuing his dream. Like many other artists, Vincent went through a rough patch in his life of ups and downs when it came to his career and social life. Vincent spent some time in South France. During this time, he had a very difficult time. He fell ill and even got to the point where he cut off his own ear. We know this as the ear incident. Story has it that Vincent and his friend Paul had many different views when it came to painting. This grew tension between the two and led to this incident. According to the Van Gogh Museum, Vincent began to show signs of agitation, and when Paul threatened to leave, Vincent became distraught that he even threatened his friend with a razor. Later that night, he sliced off his own ear. With all these difficulties, however, he did not stop. He kept on working to become successful. Vincent eventually had issues with his mental illness that led him to be admitted to a psychiatric hospital in May of 1889. Despite this, Vincent continued to work on his art. Believe it or not, did you know that according to the Art Radar, during his life, Vincent only sold one painting? Crazy, right? It wasn't until his passing that he became famous. After his passing, he became the famous Vincent van Gogh we know today. On July 29th, 1890, Vincent lost his long battle to mental illness. and with the
Pues úsalo si
uncertainty
lo
of
vas a
what the
usar
future
ahorita.
held for him.
Pues para traer
Vincent's
algún pollo,
legacy
para
was a very large
apuntar
body
lo que
of
se anda
artwork
ahogando
according to the Van
anoche.
Gogh Museum. Over
Bien feo.
850 paintings and almost
Bien feo que
1,300
tu papá se
works of
anda ahogando en
art
la noche.
on
Yo no sé
paper.
si con el pollo con
Vincent's
crema.
brother Theo was one of his top supporters even after his passing. It
Me
was thanks to
asustó.
him, but mainly thanks to Theo's
Papá
wife,
estaba así
Jo Van
dormido,
Gogh,
sentado ahí. Yo sí traía
who
un pollo,
helped
como
bring
muslitos de
light
pollo.
to
Quitarles
Vincent's
todo el
artwork
pellejo y echarle
after Vincent
verduras,
and Theo
zanahorias, papa.
passed. Joe
Ahora sí
swore
que
to
no
bring
tenga
light
grasa,
to
eso no tiene
Vincent's
grasa.
paintings in different ways according to the Van Gogh Museum. This
Ahorita
included
como unos 20
exhibition loans
gasolina ya vi. Ahorita yo
to
echo
museums
gasolina.
all over the
¿Sí me
world.
alcanza?
More and more people were
Debe
interested in
alcanzar.
buying
Pues
Van
deja
Gogh's
voy
art.
nomás a la Kroger, agarro
In
medicina y ahí agarro lo que
1914,
ahí agarro
Joe
nomás pollo, eso.
published the
Y
very
para hacer
first
un caldo.
edition of Van Gogh's letters to
Ahí
his
vengo
brother,
rápido,
Theo.
si más voy a ir ahí.
After Joe's death, her
Está
son
bien.
Vincent William Van
Ok.
Gogh took over Vincent's artwork and continued to bring light to it. In 1973, the Van Gogh Museum was opened to the world, which draws millions of visitors every year. In conclusion, despite all the hardships famous artist Vincent van Gogh had to endure, he was able to become one of the most famous artists in the world after his passing. This goes to show that even though you may struggle right now, you never know what may come out of it. I recommend you go visit the Van Gogh exhibition later this July here in Louisville. Who knows? Maybe you'll become a fan of some of his artwork. Thank you.